Electronic cigarettes, or e-cigarettes, is on the rise and has become the new hot topic in public health. But what is an e-cigarette, really? E-cigs are also known as electronic nicotine delivery systems. There are many different shapes and styles of e-cigarettes, but no matter what they look like, all e-cigs work the same way, by vaporizing nicotine. Originally developed in China as a method to help smokers quit, almost all the major tobacco companies have either bought e cigarette companies or set up in house development. It is possible to buy e cigarettes labeled as nicotine free, but when scientists at the FDA tested these nicotine free e cigs, they still found small amounts of nicotine. Nicotine is the highly addictive drug naturally found in tobacco. E cigarettes are designed to deliver nicotine into the blood, just like regular cigarettes, by smokers inhaling it into the lungs. But how do e cigarettes contain nicotine if there's no tobacco? Since nicotine cannot be turned into a vapor on its own, it's mixed with chemicals called propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin. This mixture is called e juice. When a user inhales, the battery heats the e juice, which becomes a vapor that gets inhaled into the lungs. There are a wide variety of e-cig products, and each contains e-juice with a different amount of nicotine and chemicals. But scientifically, what do we know about this e-juice liquid? Well, not much. Without regulation, companies are not required to inform consumers. E-cigarettes are often marketed as cool and fashionable, but this new trend is delivering nicotine, a highly addictive drug, in varying or unknown amounts.
Whitney Houston's death has us talking about her fight with addiction for so many years. And we don't know if it played a role in her death, but we do know that for more than 23 million Americans fighting addiction, quitting, it's just not a matter of willpower. New research actually reveals that substance abuse causes lasting changes in brain function. We're going in depth this morning with our host of Sanjay Gupta, MD, Sanjay Gupta, our resident doctor, our, the list goes on. You do everything basically. All right, let's talk about your piece. And I guess, why did you choose, I mean, this is your expertise, the function of the brain.
What exactly the brain looks like in someone who has addiction, who's going through this, is a pretty remarkable thing. I think it gives us a lot of insight into how it should best be treated and to also understand it. That's what I'm trying to do here. And I want to explain a couple of things quickly. First of all, this idea that someone has some sort of anticipation of taking a substance, that's sort of the first step. But then there are two important steps after that in the brain. And stick with me here. So imagine, for example, as you take a look at this animation I'm about to show you, that someone takes a drug of some sort. What happens there, and this is the middle of the brain, is that there is a sense of euphoria. That's dopamine there, those small little particles. That makes you feel good.
Is it any kind of drug? I mean, we're talking everything from cocaine to Xanax.
Yeah,
anything.
Just about any kind of drug, and not even drugs necessarily. It can be other things too, certain food substances. Sugar, for example, there can be a certain addiction quality. But I think what's important is the next step. So you have that euphoria, but in someone who's a true addict, take a look at this picture here. On the left side of the brain is, you see the bright areas? That's still feeling good. That's the euphoria. But on the right side is someone who has an addiction now, not as much of that bright spot, and that is relevant. Why? Because they need more and more of the substance to try and get that euphoria back. Think about that for a second. You take the substance, you feel good, but in an addict, that good feeling doesn't last. So what do? You take more than ever before. And that's sort of the basic, sort of simplistic, but basic form of addiction.
Are those changes permanent?
Well, they last a long time. And exactly how long is a little bit of a subject of controversy. But people say you can eventually get to the point where your brain does feel natural pleasure again, but that can take some time. What doesn't go away is this idea of the memory of the addiction. So say you're a cigarette smoker, quit for 10 years, pick up another cigarette and start smoking again, and right away you can go back into addiction. Whereas if you've never smoked before, it would take you some time to build up that addiction
again. It's
again.
like what they say, well, I mean, folks that we know that have gone through treatment say once an addict, always an addict. There's truth to that, right? It's you aren't just cured. It's a constant battle to stay away from the temptation or feel that euphoria, right?
That's right. And people say that, but I wanted to show the pictures of the brain to really explain why that is. You see that dark areas of the brain, you need a lot of the substance to get that euphoria back. So that's why relapse occurs so quickly. They say 3 days of acute withdrawal, which is painful, 3 months where you're the most sort of subject to relapse again, and 3 years before you really start having natural sort of pleasure again from substances.
A lot of teens underestimate the power of nicotine, but it's a highly addictive chemical in cigarettes that can literally change the way your brain works, causing you to crave more and more nicotine. Modern cigarettes are designed to deliver nicotine more quickly to the user, making them even more addictive. And menthol cigarettes may be even harder to quit than other cigarettes. It takes as little as 1 cigarette a month for some teens to develop symptoms of addiction. And because of addiction, 3 out of 4 teens who smoke will continue to smoke as adults even if they want to quit. It's your life. You should be in control, not tobacco.